For more on Clinton's trip, we're joined from Washington by Amjad Atallah. He's the co-director of the Middle East Task Force at the New America Foundation. He's also advised the Palestinian negotiating team in peace talks with Israel. Amjad, welcome to the program. Let me start off by asking you the significance of this desire to engage Syria. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think it shows that President Obama is serious about dealing with all of the issues in the Middle East at the same time, that he wants a comprehensive regional approach. And so he's going to actually do what the military planners have always said. They always wanted to be able to fight 3 wars at the same time. And what he actually wants to do is try to make peace on several fronts at the same time.
But in the context of the idea of the Palestinian, the two-state solution, how does this figure into that?
Well, I think it's going to be very important for President Obama to make sure that his team makes it clear to everybody in the region that it's a vital American national security interest that a Palestinian state be created, not only because it's good for Israel, but also because it's good for the United States. Secretary of State Clinton was quoted in today's New York Times as saying that the United States would vigorously support and promote a two-state solution, but of course, ultimately, it was up to the Israeli government and the Israeli people. Now, I think that's a misstatement because the United States obviously cannot allow the next Israeli government to decide that a two-state solution is no longer in its best interest.
And how did she do in terms of staking out the U.S. position on a two-state solution when she's been in the region?
Well, I think that she didn't go quite as far as Secretary of State Condoleezza Rice before her did, or in fact President Bush did in the past. They've actually staked out the terms of a Palestinian state much more concretely. It's interesting that she didn't necessarily emphasize the word contiguous when she talked about a Palestinian state on this trip.
And why do you think the lack of clarity on that issue?
Well, everybody's going to be dissecting every word that she says, and that's probably unfair because not every word that she says is scripted. But the speech that she gave at Sharm el-Sheikh, she conspicuously did not say that the Palestinian state would be contiguous or would have the borders of the 1967 borders with mutually agreed changes. She didn't say any of the things that had been said by previous administrations. On the one hand, that could show that she's just trying to leave the area open to negotiation. But it may also mean that the United States is taking a step back from previous U.S. positions. And if that's the case, that's going to be very problematic.
And she also arrives in the region amid a great deal of political uncertainty. Israel is trying to sort out its next coalition government. How might that affect the overall stance of the peace process as to whether peace process even gets started?
Well, Senator Mitchell always said that you actually had to make peace with the combatants. You actually had to make peace with the people who were fighting. And in a way, having the right wing in Israel in power could actually be helpful to a peace process if the United States is very clear on what our stand and what our red lines are. Because, in fact, it's going to be a right-wing government that's going to be best placed to, it's the Nixon going to China syndrome. Benjamin Netanyahu may be in a better position to take the Israelis to a Palestinian state than Tzipi Livni might have been.
All right, Amjad Atallah, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.